It's time to do our drawing for our main lesson book. And we're going to make sure that our writing is on one side and our drawing is on another. Now, if it's not set up this way for you right now, don't worry about it. Just try to make sure that that happens for the next one, even if it means you have to skip a page to get into a spread with 2 sheets. So let's read what we wrote. Joseph was Jacob's favorite child. Jacob gave him a cloak of many colors, unlike anything his brothers had. Joseph's dreams foretold that one day his brothers would bow to him. His jealous brothers threw him in a pit, then sold him into slavery. So we're going to draw a picture of sort of all of that stuff happening. So this is going to be kind of a lot of stuff going on. I want to draw. Well, first of all, I think I'll do, I'm going to make my border. So we have a nice border on there. I think all these drawings look so much nicer when we have a border, but I'm going to keep it pretty plain because I don't want to distract from our drawing. And now I'm going to take my brown crayon and I'm going to make a pit here. So way up here on at the top is the ground. And then down here is the pit. So we'll just kind of draw. So Joseph's going to be down in the pit. So we're just going to kind of draw this down like this, and maybe down here we can have some ground for him to stand on. And I'm just going to come up here with my baby bear and just draw the other side of the pit. Okay, so down here is going to be Joseph. And up here is going to be his brothers selling the poor child. All right, so I guess he's probably a young man. All right, so how do I want to start this? I think he's going to be wearing, so he's not wearing his cloak of many colors here because his brothers took it from him. So he's going to be down here. I'm going to give him kind of a plain sort of, I'm going to use this golden yellow for his robe. Now we're going to draw our people pretty small. So we're going to start, maybe I should start with the head just so we have an idea of where that is. So his head will be about here, maybe like halfway up. And I want it to look like he's looking up. So I start with my circle, but then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to make his chin kind of looking up. So I'm kind of bringing a little bit of a point there just so it looks like he's, that's a chin looking up. And there's the rest of him. And we can give him some hair in a minute. And then he's down here wanting to get up, so he's raising his arms up, begging to be let out. And in those days, men wore sort of like long robes. Kind of everybody wore long robes. So I want to make sure he's big enough. And there's his hand and his feet. And I'll come in here and maybe I'll give him some black hair. All right, so there he is, kind of reaching up, wanting to get out. Let's give him another arm. Come back here and kind of raise up a second arm. And give him a second little hand. Oh, he so wants to get up there. All right, and now his brothers. Let's see, maybe they have, I'm gonna draw one of them here holding his cloak. And I'm gonna make him wearing something that is blend in a little bit here just so that the cloak will really show up. So again, I guess I'll start with the head. And I'm making sure, when I decided where that went, I looked at him and I said, I want this guy to be about the same height. So I put his head about the same place. Oops, I just made that head a little bit bigger. And then he's gonna have, and actually I'm gonna give a little belt to these guys. I think they probably wore a little belt in their robe. So he's standing here and he's gonna be holding that cloak over his arm. So I'm gonna put his arm out like he's holding on to something. And we're just gonna build up that body. These guys are probably kind of big guys. We don't want them to look too skinny. They're pretty big guys. Give him a little belt and some hair. I think a lot of men at this time wore a beard if they were old enough to grow a beard, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a beard too, a little mustache. All right, and now over his arm I'm going to draw the cloak of many colors, and I'm just going to basically draw a bunch of stripes kind of hanging over the arm. So if it's hanging over the arm, it's kind of falling over like that. So I'm gonna give kind of a hook to it, just like that. And now I'm gonna get a different color and I'm just gonna make stripes kind of leading along that same line that I just made. So remember, they took that cloak back to their father and showed it to him so that he would think that his son had been eaten by an animal. All right, so there's their his cloak. Put my crayons back so I can find them. Won't need all of these colors since his brothers didn't have as nice a clothes as he had. Give him some feet here. All right, and then I just want to kind of show that this arm is coming in here and not just sticking out of him. So I'm just going to take that brown and kind of give a little bottom to that arm. All right, and now let's draw some more brothers. I think probably some of these guys were, I pictured Joseph as being kind of a smaller guy and his brothers as being much bigger guys than he is. So I want to make sure I'm kind of showing that. And let's make this guy, he's going to be kind of facing toward us, I think. He's going to be thinking about his brother. And they were pretty angry that Joseph said that his dreams were sort of implying that one day they would bow down to him. They didn't like that idea, so he's going to be kind of looking a little grumpy about his brother and what his brother said. All right, give him a little belt here, and then I'm going to give him some little hands kind of on his hips, like he's mad. He's a little bit angry about that. So, and then here's some feet. And I'll give him some hair. And a beard. And then let's see, we'll make one more brother. And this other brother is going to be doing the selling. So I'll give him a purple cloak. And you don't have to make your people in the same colors that I am, but so he's going to be he's reaching out and handing this guy a bag of silver. Or actually, I guess he's accepting the silver, isn't he? So he's going to accept the silver. Because the other guy is the one buying. This guy over here, what is he gonna look like? He's just a guy that's sort of traveling along the way, and I'm thinking maybe he's gonna have a little something on his head because he's a traveler through the desert, and people who are traveling through the desert often wear a little turban or something to protect their heads from the heat. So it's kind of gonna look like this. So it's basically actually not a turban, it's just like a little cloth. And maybe he's wearing a white kind of, so I'm just gonna use yellow, this golden yellow, to kind of outline this guy. And then it'll look like, because a lot of times in the desert you want to wear white because it's you won't feel so hot in white. So that's what he's doing. So he's gonna be handing this bag of coins. Let's see, here's this one. There's a little bag of silver. And he probably wants a little beard too. I didn't give Joseph a beard because he's kind of young, so he was one of the youngest brothers. All right, so there we go. We've got Joseph down the well, and we've got his brothers selling him, or down the pit rather, and his brothers are selling him into slavery. So now I'm just going to come back in there with that blue sky, and I guess this is not not so much of a sky down here. I'm going to come in with the brown kind of lightly here, and then maybe I'll just kind of, I'm using the edge of this just to kind of make it a little darker, but without making it feel like a big solid line. Down there in the pit. And I don't want to color right over this guy's clothes because he's kind of, oops, we want him to look like he's wearing white. I got my crayon a little black there when I went over their beards. So we don't have to go too heavy on that sky. We'll just keep it light. All right, so there they are. That's our drawing for today.